Welcome to Lab 319. I'm Ashley Myers. I'm the computer science and web design teacher. I'm going to first go over who am I, what's my background, why I'm not here. Then I'm going to go through the courses that I offer and teach and that your students are currently taking, and finally logistics for taking my courses. So to start with, I've worked at a number of industry companies, and when I say industry, I mean rather than being previously in computer science research or at a university, I've worked at Microsoft here in Seattle. It's how I was moved out to this area, come from Indiana. And back there, I worked at a number of companies, from a healthcare system that employs 6,000 to a used car dealership, corporate headquarters, to a consulting firm, to an educational firm. Some of the, what I like to call extracurriculars that I've been previously involved with include the very reason why I'm not here tonight. I'm currently attending the 2014 Grace Hopper Celebration of Women in Computing. This year, the conference has grown to twice the size it's previously been, which is really exciting. We've got 8,000 women here. But at this conference, through it was how I got connected with some of the Microsoft folks, and that also led to me participating in a student competition that now students at ages 16 and up can participate, called the Imagine Cup. And through that, I was able to be flown around the country. Microsoft paid for it, and got to meet students from around the world. So these are opportunities that I would love to pass on to your children. So let's get down to what we're doing here. So again, I'm the computer science and web design teacher. I am the computer science and web design department, but this is in the career and technical education arm of things. So next door is Miss Smith. She teaches marketing and advertising. Down the hall is Miss Mack. She teaches our business courses and business law. And downstairs we have engineering. So in my classroom, if your student is in first or second period with me, they're taking one of two courses, being Web Design 1, or, and these aren't directly related as you can see on my chart, Computer Science Projects, which is actually a post-AP course. So Web Design 1, this is the first year. I'm excited. In the spring, we're going to be offering Web Design 2. If your student is taking Intro to CS, I'll call out right now, not a requirement to take AP Computer Science. AP Computer Science prereq is purely Algebra 1. So AP Computer Science is the course that I teach third and fourth period this year. And then in fifth period, I've got Intro to CS. First, regardless of whether or not you're taking web design with me or any of my computer science courses, I would like to get out there this thought that computer science is not about learning to code. And the reason I want to say this to all my students is that computer science is in my blood. It bleeds into my web design curriculum, which I think is a huge benefit to your students, because computer science can bring you what the educational community has come to call some computational thinking skills, which to me is just a fancy way of saying we are getting loads of practice in problem solving. I mean, when it comes down to it, the computer is a very stupid box, and it does not hesitate in saying, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. So I like to think of this as a great opportunity to help students build some resistance as well as develop those problem solving skills. So in the AP Computer Science class, we start with some very basic code that just puts out some text output. But we do end up creating some very visual applications. And if you have a moment tonight when you leave the classroom, check out some of the posters in the hall to see what students can create just after 1 year of taking computer science, because those are from the 5-week final project of AP Computer Science. Web Design 1, we start again with very, very basic text output. Within the past few weeks, students, we very quickly learn another language, because we start with HTML, but HTML by itself doesn't look so fancy, so we quickly learn CSS. And I actually think web design is a little bit of a tricky course. I have a fair amount of students who sign up for it thinking, oh, well, it's easier than computer science. But how I was mentioning earlier, computer goes, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. When it comes to web design, since we have so many different devices that we access the internet on, and all of that is coming from the same area, from the same content, all these different computers will try. So no matter what code you give it, the computer is like, well, that wasn't technically correct. I'm going to try and show it to you anyways. So this course doesn't have, when the students are learning how to make these sites, the computer isn't as clear about saying, actually you did that wrong. So it's kind of a sneaky challenge. And so we're currently learning some advanced CSS stuff to make our sites look really nice and interesting. And I'm excited because I can already see sites that are so much more advanced than what I was doing when I was in high school, since I got to the CSS and I was like, I have no idea what's going on here. I'm going to go try something easier. So after the students get some basic skills in HTML and CSS, we move into just a brief experience in learning how to use what's called a content management system. The one that we use here is WordPress. The reason that I introduced that is just to show students that in a professional environment, you're not going to be creating every single web page from scratch. I want them to get a taste of what it is like to manage a professional website. So, in the Intro to Computer Science course, over the last year I've been slowly transitioning it. We have the privilege of having Eckstein Middle School, which has a great computer science program, and as a result, the program that I took over needed its curriculum overhauled for the intro course, since it was using the same material that I have now many students coming in and using. So that course is using some content from Harvey Mudd, and the students are learning some Python. We will eventually learn a little bit of Java, and also get some hands-on experience with Arduinos. So now course logistics. As you may or may not have noticed, I don't personally use Fusion. I use something called Canvas. This is an alternate learning management system that I've found much easier to use. And also it does a better job of allowing students to keep an eye on, oh, what assignments are coming up? And the big one for me is that it will show students if they haven't turned an assignment in. Since this isn't through Roosevelt's website, I'll be sending an email out to the emails that you guys have given the school to each, the web design, a customized one for web design, for Intro to CS and AP, and also for my CS project students. If you would like to have access to Canvas, if you could please respond to that email, and I'll include this ask in the email. So again, Canvas is where students at the start of every class should be checking in, seeing is there any new announcements, are there any new assignments, have I forgotten a deadline. Also this year I've started to use something built into Canvas called Piazza. So if your student is at home and stuck, please, please, please have them post their question to Piazza. This tool allows them to publicly post it, to post it anonymously where only I can see their name, or they can post it anonymously where neither I nor the other students can see their name, or post the message privately just to me. And so anytime that they get stuck, their first thing, especially if they're not in the classroom or if they're uncomfortable talking to anyone else, should be to post that question there. So grades, I do a lot of on-the-spot feedback. When it comes to written feedback for the web design course, every website that they turn in, before they turn it in, I highly encourage them to check out the bottom of the assignment. It has a rubric, so they should look to see exactly what is possible for them to gain points on and where can they lose points. For the AP class, it's a little bit more disjointed. There's a couple different tools that I have to use. I have to pull it together. So I try to get things all put over onto the source. And so if ever you haven't seen an update for a while, please email me and give me a nudge to get that updated. So besides the Piazza tool, I want to let you know that my office hours, generally I'm there every day after school. I highly recommend appointments. It's hard for me, classes are a little bit fuller this year, to get around to every single student every single day in the classroom. And so any kid who needs some dedicated time with me, they can just, and I tell my students this, stand next to me until you see me put the appointment on my calendar. I have a tendency to forget things, and so if they see me put it on my calendar, then I will be there. So they can request that appointment in person, they can send me an email, and you guys can also send me an email if you would like me to try and urge them to schedule that appointment with them. So I have some students here tonight. Hopefully you have a little bit of time. I'm doing this in one shot, so I'm not quite sure how long this video is. But feel free to ask them questions. I've got at least one student here who's taken web design. They've all taken AP, and they're currently in CS projects, and they've should have some stuff that they can show you, or they can talk about some of their past projects. So thank you tonight for coming, and I'll get those emails out to you, and feel free anytime to email me.